Welcome and good evening to our Engineering and ICS. This is the 7th Alumni Hall of Fame celebration. Welcome, welcome. My name is Tim. I'm an alumni of ICS as well as the MBA school, the Paul Mirage School, and I'm going to be serving as your MC tonight. And my goal is to keep the program moving so that you can enjoy this absolutely gorgeous view that we have out here tonight and celebrate the fact that we are all back together. The last time we had this event was at the Discovery Cube in February of 2020, and I was actually just talking to them today, and we were reminiscing about how we all knew something was coming, but we did not have any idea what we were about to be in for. And without getting political here tonight, one thing that I can say is when we look at the last 2 years, the amount of engineering and work that's been done through computer science, not only at our school, but our alumni, when it came to facing a large problem and what do, there has been some absolutely incredible initiatives and projects that have come out of that. And we can thank the schools of engineering and ICS for at least helping us incrementally, if not exponentially, moving through. So let's hear it for both schools. Now tonight we have guests of faculty, researchers, alumni, and the Dean's Leadership Council. And we also have several inductees from present classes. And so go ahead and see yourselves, find yourselves, and enjoy yourselves from making it into the Hall of Fame. Now, if you want to take any pictures, you can tag it with UCI HOF, which stands for Hall of Fame, or for those of you that like Knight Rider, the Hoff. So now you will not forget UCI, don't hassle the Hoff. HOF, you're good to go. Let's take a few facts that have happened over the last couple of years on what's going on so that you can brag at your next parties you go to this weekend about how you were involved with this illustrious school. UCI is number 1 for in-state freshman applications and number 2 among all UC campuses for fall of 2022. And for those of you that have children at the college age, you know how incredibly stressful it is. So the fact that UCI is ranking up on that high is very different than when I went to the amazing school that it was back in the 80s. It was also the top choice for first-generation college students and those from low-income families and underrepresented groups for the 4th year in a row. The number of undergraduates and graduate applications for admissions to ICS and engineering is another record high, each having reached over 20,000 for fall 2022 admission. Selectivity is also at a record high. On the faculty front, growth has continued unabated with over 260 faculty members representing both schools, and the growth in the faculty numbers are only expected to continue due to the fine donations that we are all going to be making tonight to help that continue. The research expenditures are also at an all-time high, with engineering effectively kicking ICS's butt, accounting for $95.5 million in expenditures, and ICS at $24 million, and the next time we stand up here, they'll be tied. All in fun. I mean, for those of us that have graduated from the school, we know that, in fact, one of my roommates was engineering, that there was this very friendly rivalry between the two schools, and as you continue to grow up in life, you realize that that competition is fueled us into so many other endeavors that we've done in life, where it's the ultimate respect for what the other side is doing. And it's through that collaboration and why we're here tonight that our next generation will fix all these problems that we've created for them. So like you, I've come here tonight for the notable achievement of what's happening, and I'm going to share with you a few examples of how you can get involved. So one way is you can have a child, like my wife and I, Pamela, did, who is now a freshman at UCI in the game design program in ICS. And he applied, his backup school was SC. I mean, that's how cool it is. And he only wanted to go to UCI. And when he finished his first quarter, I said, "How is it?" And he said, it's absolutely amazing. Like, I get there and everybody is super friendly and we're all rooting for each other. There's no competition. He said the atmosphere is incredible. What was it like for you? I said, well, in ICS 1B, we sat in a room and our two instructors looked at the entire class and said, look around the room, because 10 weeks from now, 40% of you will be gone. And they were right. And then they said, by the end of the first year, 60% of you will be gone. And I thought, yeah. Now, it worked. Life worked out okay, and I learned. But when you look at culturally how the schools have moved forward and what they've been able to do during these challenging times, we have the mass gratitude for the entire UC staff and everybody that's involved there for continuing to keep the school going and to do what they do and creating an environment that's good for our youth. So if you don't want to have a child and get them into school, here are a couple other ways that you can get involved. Come to events like this in this beautiful setting that we have. Work with faculty on research options. You can also volunteer in programs that impact the lives of our students. And there are plenty of wonderful people walking around here tonight that will help you do that. You can also fund scholarships and fellowships. And you don't have to start high to do any of these. Any amount is acceptable, and it's very fun when you come back and give. And then you can also participate in Giving Day that's coming up. So the way I got back involved was starting by sponsoring one class. It was a research class, and they were doing a capstone project, and that was almost 20 years ago. And it's evolved into so many different things, and I can look at you all in the virtual eye and say that you definitely get more than you give when it comes to that. In fact, there's some fun conferences coming up. Talk to me about it. We're putting a group together to help sponsorship the game conference that's coming, which will end on the beach in Dana Point with a beautiful bonfire and music. So it's not all just widgets and gadgets. It's a little bit of fun going in on there too. All right, so we are now ready to get into the program itself and give some awards to some incredibly deserving people. I would love to welcome to the stage our first presenter as he's quickly covering his notes, so I have to stall a little bit longer for you to... My friend and colleague who's going to be giving the first awards, please welcome Dean Marios to the stage. Dean Marios Papathemio.
Thank you, Dean. I'm Marios Papathemio, Dean of the Bren School of Information and Computer Sciences. Thank you all for joining us this evening. It's our celebration for the 7th cohort of our Alumni Hall of Fame. And it's always a great pleasure to recognize our inductees into the Hall of Fame. This year we're doing this for the 2022 cohort, but we're also recognizing the inductees from last year, 2021. We didn't have the event last year. Engineering and ICS have had a wonderful collaboration for many years together. One of the latest examples of things that we do together with our engineering colleagues is the new interdisciplinary science and engineering building on the campus.
Yacht
If you haven't been on campus recently,
XM.
make a point to visit. It's one of the marvelous new buildings on campus right next to ICS. Together with physical sciences, engineering, and ICS, we're working on things around energy, health, and sustainability. We keep having an eye on the future, obviously, but here tonight we're here to celebrate the past and the current achievements of our alums. I'm extremely pleased to induct the following 3 outstanding alumni who comprise our 7th cohort of inductees to the ICS Alumni Hall of Fame for 2022. I will ask our 3 honorees to join me on the stage when I call their names. It's my pleasure to introduce the first of our 3 inductees, Rohit Kare. Rohit? I know Rohit is here. You have to come on the stage. I know. You have to come around. The stairs are there. It's all perfectly orchestrated, Rohit. So you need to stand by me as I publicly humiliate you for the next 2 minutes. As you can
Usually I
tell,
do that myself.
Enough said, right? So as you can tell, Rohit you can tell from his overall ambience, he's a serial entrepreneur and an award-winning computer scientist in the areas of software architecture, cybersecurity, and decentralization. He's currently leading product management in a stealth mode cloud security startup founded in Irvine, California. It's so stealth that I don't even know its name, but it's real. And I think Rohit is selling stock options. His very first venture-backed startup was Know Now. Rohit is proudly flying the colors for Know Now. This is the original T-shirt. It's going to be on eBay after the event. It was spun out of UC Irvine in 2000, and the focus of the company was to develop internet standards for the World Wide Web Consortium and MCI's internet architecture. Rohit went on to start a new company after Know Now. That company was picked up by Google. Rohit stayed with Google for another 10 years and then he started yet another company, the stealth mode security startup. That's in Irvine. Rohit received his PhD in software engineering from UC Irvine in 2003. Before that, he received a Master of Science degree from ICS.
I am very happy about this. Thank you so much. Great.
All right. Next on the list is Srinivas Mantripragada. Srinivas? You know the drill, right? You're going to be standing next to me. Congratulations. Srinivas is a seasoned product and technology executive with over 25 years of experience in technology strategy, product execution, architecture, and research. He's currently an investor and venture advisor to multiple venture capital firms and private equity firms. He sits on the advisory boards for a dozen early and mid-stage startups. Most recently, he was CTO and VP of IBM Cloud Infrastructure Platform and Watson Services. Prior to that, he was an entrepreneur in residence for Foundation Capital, a leading Silicon Valley venture capital firm focusing on cloud infrastructure, security, automation, and big data analytics. But prior to that, it's a very, very long list, so you have to bear with me. Prior to that, he was VP of Technology at Infoblox. He was leading the DNS infrastructure and security initiatives at Infoblox. Prior to that, he was the Director of Advanced Technology at Determina, an innovative cybersecurity firm, which was acquired by VMware, and Chief Architect at Barracuda Networks, a worldwide leader in web application security. Prior to that, there's even more prior, he was an early compiler and Chief Architect at MIPS and Silicon Graphics. This must be in the early 90s, right? That sounds about right. Srinivas co-authored more than 60 technical product research peer-reviewed publications in journals, conferences, 6 patents, 2 standards defined. He holds a PhD in computer science from the University of California, Irvine. Srinivas, congratulations. Last but not least is Peyman Orezi. Peyman was unable to attend this evening, but he's very grateful for the honor. On behalf of Peyzi, I would like to call up to the podium his brother, Nima Orezi, to accept the award. Nima?
I'll send the regards.
Absolutely. Peyman Orezi holds a bachelor's, master's, and PhD in information and computer science from UC Irvine. He's currently an engineering manager within Walmart's Health and Wellness Group, which operates over 4,000 pharmacies and dozens of health clinics across the United States. He joined Walmart as a part of its acquisition of CareZone, a startup that Payman joined as employee number 4. At CareZone, he built end-user applications to help people manage their health and the health of their family members. Prior to that, he worked as an independent consultant, parachuting into companies to advise on architecture, build critical technology, and hire engineering talent. He started his career at Microsoft, working on the Windows operating system, leading an engineering team to deeply integrate communication and collaboration features into the Windows desktop user interface. He holds 13 patents, multiple awards. His papers have been cited over 6,000 times. And for those of us academics in the audience, in 2008, he received the International Conference on Software Engineering Most Influential Paper Award for his 1998 paper. This is how you write history, right? Architecture-based runtime software evolution. So this is certainly one of the milestones in the software engineering discipline. So once again, let's congratulate Payman. Well, Nima, really, on behalf of Payman.
Yes, please do, yes. Thank you, Mario.
So this was all for 2022, but as I mentioned a few minutes ago, we still have the 2021 inductees to honor and recognize today. So you know that we didn't have an award ceremony last year, but we have some of our award winners today with us. I want to invite them on the stage. Don Box. He received his master's degree in 1991. Don is there. He's slowly making his way to the stage. Don, congratulations. And Frank Vahid. Frank received his PhD in 1994. Let's give both of them a full round of applause.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Picture. Yes, we're here for the pictures.
There's the cameras. Thanks.
The script says give them another round of applause. Heck, why not? I would like to turn the floor back over to our MC, Tim.
Thank you, Marius. How many patents do you have? That's the table game that you're all going to play right now and figure out who's got more. I have none. So now what we're going to do is we're going to switch over to engineering. Let's welcome our Dean of Engineering up to the stage, please. Big warm welcome to the first alumni event. You got to keep clapping it while he's still walking. Take it away.
I also have a script. Well, thank you, Tim. I am absolutely delighted to be here. And there is a saying, everything has been said, but not everyone has said it. So I want to add and just say, welcome. And as a university professor, researcher, we're always very, very excited and proud of our research and our intellectual property. But at the end of the day, that pales in comparison to how proud we are of our people. Universities exist to produce people that go out in the world and that do hopefully amazing things. And I love events like this because ultimately they're a celebration of that fact. So round of applause to all of us. Or you, at least. So I am Magnus Egerstedt. I am a new-ish Dean. I'm the Stacy Nicholas Dean of Engineering in the Samueli School of Engineering at UCI. And this is my first UCI Hall of Fame event. I spent the last 20 years or so at Georgia Tech in Atlanta. And I thought, why don't I give you my origin story a little bit so you know who you're dealing with. It's not going to be that long, but I actually want to share with you why I came to UCI, because I think that is relevant to what's going on here tonight. I'm a roboticist. I have large teams of robots in my lab. I like my research, but I've always liked getting people together. So at Georgia Tech, I brought roboticists in. We started a robotics center that grew to a robotics institute. I was the director. It became the second largest robotics institute in the country after Carnegie Mellon, and I loved it. It was really cool. But I had this little dissonant note going on in the back of my mind because I was surrounded by faculty and researchers, and I'd gotten disconnected from what actually matters with the university campus, which is the students. I didn't see students anymore, and that seemed absolutely wrong. So I became the department chair in electrical and computer engineering at Georgia Tech, and I loved it. I got to do stuff, and I was surrounded by students. And then this dissonant note started again, and it had to do with the fact that the big defining questions of our time, how do we make sure we leave an environment for our grandkids that's not burned to the ground? How do we structure technology in our society so that computer science, robotics, AI don't turn us into batteries in the matrix, right? These big mega questions. Engineering has their fingerprints all over that. Computing has its fingerprints all over that. But we can't do it alone. We really need to collaborate across disciplines. So I started looking for a place that A, was laser focused on its students, and B, was hungry and a little scrappy and ambitious and collaborative and wanted to go after these big questions. And I found that in UCI. It is absolutely an unusual university because it focuses on collaborative work. I love it that we're here today representing two schools. In fact, next year I think we should have blue and yellow striped lanyards so we don't know who is who because it really doesn't matter. And I'm Swedish, so I can pretend that it's the Swedish flag. But I think this event is a testament to this multidisciplinary approach. I do want to say one more thing, though, about people and about students. I know that Marius shares my view that ultimately the student experience is what matters. And I've started referring to Bachelor's Plus. So the bachelor's degree, that's what you get when you're in the classroom and you take the test and you cobble together a transcript and you graduate and you're done. The plus is everything that happens outside of the classroom on campus that really makes the education come alive. It's the student clubs and organizations, it's entrepreneurship opportunities, it's undergraduate research, international programs, internships, and maker spaces. I mean, I fundamentally believe that you cannot learn circuits without every now and then smelling the smell of a burnt out capacitor. Right? So that's something that we're sharing, both me and Marius, across our schools. This view of, yeah, what happens inside the classroom is important, but what happens outside of the classroom is even more important. And again, I think today is very much a testament to that. I also should say that the Bachelor's Plus doesn't work without engaged alumni. So this is a little bit of a call to arms to all of you. Thank you for being part of a supportive network that really has our students, our current and future students' best interests at heart. And make sure you return to campus, you volunteer, you show up, you talk to our students, you give a seminar about whatever it is that you're doing in your respective companies or your respective professional lives. And while you're at it, sponsor a scholarship. That would be okay too. So I just want to say thank you for being part of that network, and remember to keep engaging with our students because they need you. So with that, let's turn our attention over to some of our most distinguished alumni in engineering who will now officially be part of the Samueli School of Engineering's Hall of Fame. I will be following the protocol established by my predecessor here, so I will be reading people's names and bios while you're standing up here on stage being roasted. So when you hear your name, come up to stage and I will read your bio. And I'm pleased to announce the first 2022 Engineering Hall of Fame inductee, Cecilia Richards. So Cecilia, where are you? There you are. So Cecilia got her PhD in 1990 in mechanical engineering. She is a mechanical engineering professor at Washington State University, and her research has spanned fuel air mixing in gas turbine engines to waste heat harvesting in microscale engines. In fact, she's really a leader in really, really small engines for portable power applications. And she's worked on integrating thin film, what's called piezoelectrics, as generators for these microscale engines. And she's really contributed to our fundamental understanding of power conversion efficiency of these piezoelectric components. She is a fellow of the American Society of Mechanical Engineers. She has authored over 150 technical papers and proceedings. Her work has been funded by NSF, DARPA, NIH, NIST. It's basically a who is who of the federal funding agencies. But I'm also happy that she was the first woman in the UCI Department of Mechanical Engineering to earn a doctorate in 1990. And her advisor was Professor Scott Samuelson, who is sitting right here. So an applause for Scott as well. But not only that, Cecilia continued to shatter glass ceilings. I mean, she's carrying a glass ceiling shattering sledgehammer with her professionally. Because she went on to be the first woman on the faculty of the School of Mechanical and Materials Engineering at Washington State University. So congratulations. Is that where we're? That side. Oh, we get the sunset also. This is outstanding. So that brings me to our next engineering inductee, John Olivier. John. Yeah, we got to go up on this side. Yeah. Oh, you found a shortcut. Excellent. John is the president and CEO of Fusco Engineering, a Southern California 200-person employee-owned firm that provides civil engineering services for land development and public infrastructure services using eco-adaptive processes. This is a very eco-forward civil engineering company. He earned a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from UCI in 1985, and he's worked at Fusco Engineering since its founding in 1992. And there, he leads and supports the company's employees throughout 4 offices in Irvine, San Diego, Ontario, and Los Angeles. And he is the principal in charge for a number of projects, providing both direct oversight and leadership. And he has more than 35 years of experience delivering exceptional. So basically, I got a little detour. There are engineers that are just really, really good engineers, and John is one of them. I mean, just really knows the craft of engineering. Going back to the script. He's also a prominent and respected advocate of the architectural, engineering, and construction industry, and is a member of something called the American Society of Civil Engineers and the Design Build Institute of America. He served 5 years on the Home Aid Orange County Board of Directors Executive Committee and is its Vice President of Housing Development. Congratulations, John.
Thank you.
There we go. Let's pose for the cameras while they're still live. So that brings me to our third and final inductee in the 2022 Engineering Hall of Fame, and this is Elizabeth San Miguel. Elizabeth? So you know the drill. Now we just stand there. Oh, yeah. Excellent.
There should be an X.
Oh, there's one there.
All right. Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of an X.
Okay. So Elizabeth got her bachelor's degree in 2002 in computer engineering, and she has worked in numerous capacities at Northrop Grumman Corporation for nearly 18 years. She was selected as a Northrop Grumman Corporate Technology Council protege in 2017 for her technical accomplishments and leadership potential as an emerging leader in the field of engineering by the Society of Women Engineers in 2018. Here's another glass ceiling shatterer, by the way. That's right. She currently serves as a program director of vehicle engineering at Northrop Grumman, and previously she worked on what's called specialty systems engineering for really interesting programs like there's the Polar Orbit satellite program that I was very intrigued by. And over the years, she had led several of these large product teams. She has a multi-million-dollar R&D portfolio and coordinates corporation-wide technology reviews with all of the industry's customer base. And like I said, she got her bachelor's degree in computer engineering at UCI. She then got a master's degree in electrical engineering at USC. And at UCI, she was heavily involved in student government. This goes back to this bachelor's plus idea. She's a living embodiment of that. And she had a strong desire to advocate and empower students. She was on the Engineering Student Council, representing the Undergraduate Studies Committee, and she continues to be an advocate for future engineering leaders through her active involvement in Society of Women Engineers. She's also an advocate for STEM outreach more broadly. She shows up at events at the Girl Scouts, the Graduate Women in Science, and the Society of Women Engineers. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. You're welcome. And I also have a script that says, please give the inductees another round of applause. Woo! So as Marius pointed out, last year we didn't have an in-person event. So we would also like to call up last year's inductees to be recognized. What we did is we curated videos with them last year. So if you check out the Samueli School of Engineering's YouTube channel, you can actually see interviews with these very distinguished and deserving award winners. But can I please have the 2021 inductees come to the stage to receive your awards? So we have Ramin Masomi, who got a bachelor's degree in 1994 in civil and environmental engineering. Ah, there's Ramin, excellent. And as Ramin is making his way up here, we also have Johnny Lincoln, who got a PhD in 2007 and a master's degree in 2004, both in material science and engineering. And then the guy with the coolest shoe wear of any of our alumni, Ed Hernandez, who he got a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering in 1991. Ed? So, big round of applause for last year's winners. Squeeze in the action here. I want to be part of this. Excellent. So that concludes the induction portion of tonight's event. And for the next part of our program, we will be calling up two of our inductees to say a few more words. But first, I would like to re-invite our illustrious MC, Tim, there he is, back to the stage.
Thank you very much, and congratulations to everybody. And let's give a warm welcome to our amazing new Dean of Engineering. And now we're going to hear from two of our inductees, and we're going to start first with engineering. So if I may ask, please, for Elizabeth San Miguel to come join us and share her UCI experience. This one, that, which one? All right.
Hi, I just want to say that I want to start by saying that it's such a huge honor to be a part of this year's class of inductees, and a privilege to be the person who gets to stand in front of you all to speak on our collective behalf. I know all of us have wonderfully, wow, that's so loud. I know all of us have wonderful experiences from UCI, and when I look back on my own experiences, I think of when I was in I think of Dr. Jung Rankin, lovingly referred to as DDR by so many of us. I remember going trick-or-treat. He invited us to go trick-or-treating at his house behind the University Hills, and I absolutely did that. I told him I wasn't going to show up with a costume, but I was still going to go trick-or-treating. Dr. El-Gabashi, he had the most wonderful Egyptian tea that he would share. He was so proud of his tea. And I had these experiences because I was a part of the undergraduate studies committee as the student representative. And that afforded me a really unique perspective on the faculty as an undergraduate. You know, as undergrads, we think of as our professors as these all-powerful people who are arbiters of our worthiness to be recruited by major companies, and it's terrifying. But being a member of the undergraduate studies committee, I remember one of the 2 years that I was in there, we talked about, at the time we were talking about whether or not we should move the first class of computer programming from C++, because it was C++ at the time, over to Python. And to sit there and listen to them talk about, you know, we should move this over because we're losing students after the first year, and it's because these classes are hard and intimidating. I see it shakes up and down. But Python is more approachable, and maybe if we can teach students early that this isn't a scary thing, they'll stay. And being a student on that committee, I realized that these are a group of people, very approachable people, who care and have the responsibility for preparing us for our engineering and computer science careers. And it was a very wonderful experience, and that's something that I really cherish about my experience when I was at UCI. I know that it changed my perspective as I went through my career in thinking about people in power above me, no longer thinking about them as people with power, but people with responsibility. And I can say that in my own career, I've thought about, and that has changed how I lead my own organizations. Power is something that you're given because you have a great responsibility to care for the people who you are preparing or for your team that you need to succeed. And that's something that was instilled to me in those first moments as a member of the undergraduate studies committee, and I'm very grateful for that. I also think about all of my other experiences, but I'll just leave it at that. I want to say to the faculty that are here, I really appreciate all of you. Oh, I'm not sure if I have the faculty. The one class, I think that was one of the things you asked me to talk about, the one class that made a big impact in my career. I did not know that this class that a friend of mine didn't want to take alone. And so I'm like, okay, I'll take this class. It sounds interesting. I'll take this microwave chip design class. I'm a computer science major, so it was not required for me to take, but it sounded interesting. Little did I know that class would lead to, in my first job, being selected to be part of a radar acquisition team for the Navy's first stealth destroyer program. And because I learned in that first assignment what radar cross-section was, it would lead Northrop Grumman to hiring me to do radar cross-section analysis, and it led to an entire career of developing stealth aircraft as a result. And so unknowingly, this class that sounded interesting would lead in electrical engineering would lead me to an entire career in designing stealth aircraft. And some of them I'm really proud of. A couple of them have ended up on the covers of Popular Science magazine. So it's pretty amazing to have gotten to be part of that. But I had no idea when I was taking this class that a friend of mine just asked me to participate in because he didn't want to take it alone. So I'm sure that the other inductees have amazing experiences as well. And I want to just say before I leave that I'm so honored to be a fellow inductee. It's so humbling, really. Mr. John Olivier, he has this amazing company who I guarantee, as a longtime Orange County resident, I have probably a much more positive experience in my life because infrastructure projects that he's built over the years, it's personally affected me. So thank you for that. I know, though, that, yes, he deserves a round of applause for that. I know, though, that of the things that he's most proud of, he is most proud of meeting his wife, Cindy, at UC Irvine. So let's also give him a round of applause for that. And Dr. Cecilia Richards, I haven't gotten to meet you yet, and I really hope I get to meet you tonight because first woman to receive a PhD from the School of Mechanical Engineering, first woman to be a faculty for the School of Mechanical and Materials Science at Washington State University. That is amazing, and thank you for everything you've done, not just in your technical field, but paving the way for women in engineering and academia. That is huge, and just that alone, thank you so much for that. So on behalf of this year's class of inductees, thank you very much for this honor tonight.
Ooh, thank you so much, Elizabeth. All right, next up we have from the previous section that we were not able to have live, Don Box, who's going to be talking about the experience with ICS. Don, please come up to the stage.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. How are you? Fantastic. I spent some time. I was recently asked to do this. I spent some time. It was actually kind of emotional. I teared up a little bit. I will do my best to have a dry eyes up here, no tears out there. But it was really fascinating. I'm about to turn 60. So, in a couple months, I'm going to flip the odometer, and it's whatever. It's consolation and condolences, I guess. But I was at UCI from the ages of 26 to the ages of 30. So basically, when I thought about what would I say, what I realized was my time at UCI, which was 4 years from 1988 to 1992, was effectively the coda of the first half of my life. And when I think about how I got there, it was really simple. My wife was a grad student in the English department at UCI, and I needed to go to another school, and it was like I could carpool with her. So I wound up at UCI, and it was great. UCI was a fabulous coda for that part of my life. I entered basically a bass player who was in a hair band, working up in Los Angeles. And I came in, I transitioned from an aspiring musician to being an aspiring prof. I kind of in my first year said, okay, great, this is what I want to go do. It looks like a lot of fun. It looks really rewarding. And then I watched what it's like at being a grad student, and I decided I do not want to be a prof. So I transitioned from being an aspiring prof to an aspiring practitioner. Fundamentally, I like building stuff. And I got to build stuff while I was a grad student, and I got really addicted to it, and so that was what I felt I needed to do. I also, during that period, transitioned to becoming an expectant parent. So the end of my career at UCI was when my wife said, it's time for me to have a child. You're my husband. You get right of first refusal. I exercised the option, which meant I needed to go pay to be a parent. And that was really kind of when I went pro, when I decided to actually go do this as my life's work. So that's kind of like what happened to my life, during that 4 years, and it was amazing. And if I really thought about what did I get out of UCI? I may sound flippant, and I went there because my wife did, which is true. It was an amazing, amazing experience, which really shaped who I am today. Here's what I got out of UCI. I can't even stack rank these, so I'll just list them. I got 4 years to focus 100% on finding my passion in my craft. I knew I liked to program. I got to just live it. I got to wallow in it. I didn't have to worry about having a job. I didn't have to worry about anything other than just showing up to Orange County, after 45 minutes of a commute every single day and doing stuff. Fantastic. I developed a lifelong hunger for learning and improving my craft, right? That was really where my learning chops got a lot better compared to where it was when I went in. I got the opportunity to learn to teach, and I realized I really love teaching. The company I founded after I left the university was a training company. I got to teach all around the world. It was a lot of fun. I got a work ethic, which was amazing. I went in very much a slacker in a hairband. And I left, a pretty hardworking human being who can really focus and get stuff done. And that served me well ever since then. I got self-confidence. I went in not knowing what I was going to do, not knowing what mattered. Through a few profs, mainly George Luker and Mike Dillencourt, they said a few things at a point in my life where I really needed to hear it. Massively made my life better. And I got the opportunity to meet, a bunch of fellow grad students who helped me go build a company, a career, and a much richer life because of all the people I went to school with when I was there. So, I believe strongly that the current generation, I worked at Microsoft until recently. I now work at Meta. And I get to talk to interns all the time. The most common question I get is, should I go to grad school or should I come work at your company? The answer is always the same. Go to grad school, right? While you're here, do it. Because once you go off and work, you're never going back. It is statistically very difficult to overcome the addiction to money. And being a grad student on just enough money, I assume that ICS still gives enough money to students so that they can eat, right? That gift is such a gift, and once you go out into the professional life, it is so hard to imagine going back. So I tell everyone, stay in school as long as you possibly can, and thank you to all the parents who support that. I know I got a little bit of dole from my parents. Thanks to the state of California for making this amazing university happen. I'm deeply grateful for what the university, the department, and my advisor Tetsuya Suda gave me that really impacted the rest of my life. And like all of the other inductees, I'm honored by the recognition, and thank you, everyone.